I'm currently pregnant with baby number 2, and honestly, I have never felt more prepared. And not for the reasons you'd think. Not because I read more books, did more courses, bought better stuff, but because I've already done it. I've lived it. These are the things I learned in those first few months with Amelia that nobody, not my mom, not my friends, not any YouTube video, actually told me before she arrived. The real stuff, not the cute stuff. When I was pregnant with Amelia, I was so focused on getting ready. I took all the courses. I had a hospital bag packed at 32 weeks. I thought I was so prepared. But boy, was I wrong. I had no idea what I was walking into. But once we were in that hospital and I realized this baby is mine and there is no one else that is going to take care of it besides me, and it's not a 9 to 5 job, it's a 24/7 job. It's a job that you don't get to ever walk out and leave. Do you think you know? Until you've actually gone through it. Nobody tells you how lonely those first few months are. Like genuinely, truly lonely. You have this beautiful baby in your arms and your whole life just silences. Your world gets really small really fast. Your friends don't truly get it unless they've already done it. You're home, you're tired, you're so out of it, and even though there is a human being attached to you at all times, you still feel alone. I wish someone had told me that that feeling was normal, that it wasn't a sign I was doing something wrong. It was just the season I was in. You feel like your life and your body isn't yours. It feels like an out-of-body experience. You realize your life will never be the same anymore. It all feels very daunting, and it really does feel like a time of mourning, but it will all pass. You'll feel like yourself again, a better version. That's the part you don't realize yet. Your identity is gonna shift. And that's okay, even if it's scary. Before Amelia, I had a version of myself I was really comfortable with. And then overnight, everything changed. How I spent my time, how I looked, what I cared about, that all shifted. And nobody warned me that grieving the old version of yourself while falling completely in love with your baby could all happen at the same time. All those emotions, all of them at the same time. Both things can be true. You can be completely obsessed with your baby and still miss who you are. That's not a bad mom thing. That's just a human thing. And for a second, going on vacation, traveling the world, that all will feel like something of the past. Something you will never experience anymore. That's not true. Your dreams will evolve, and you can do all those things with a baby. Yes, it will be hard, but it will be so worth it, and so much more fulfilling too. You will look back on all those memories so fondly. You will literally not understand how people without babies could ever feel so fulfilled. If you're wondering why things look a little bit different, it's because Amelia woke up from her nap, so I'm actually doing this at a different time. That's the reality of mom life. You can't always assume things are going to go the way you planned them. So here we are. The mental load is the hardest part, and nobody sees it. I didn't understand the mental load before I became a mom. Like, I've heard the term before, but I didn't fully get it. It's not the doing, it's the remembering, the planning, the anticipating, the tracking. It's a lot. When did she last eat? When is her next appointment? Do we have enough diapers? What size is she in right now? Did I switch out the clothes in the diaper bag and make sure they still fit her? Because that has happened a couple of times where I'm like, oops, we're gonna need a change of clothes. And then I go through my diaper bag and I'm like, this is a little bit tight. It'll work, but it's tight. These things run constantly in the background of your mind. And the hard part is that it's invisible. No one knows it's happening, but you feel it every single day. I wish I had given myself more grace for how exhausting that alone is. Fed is best. Do whatever works for your family. I had a whole plan for breastfeeding. I took all the courses. I thought, what could possibly go wrong? This is gonna be fine. Like, I should have no problem. I was so wrong. So wrong. Once she was born, reality happened. I spent way too long feeling guilty about it instead of just accepting that whatever worked for us was the best choice. Whether you breastfeed, formula feed, pump, combination feed, It doesn't matter as much as the internet tells you it does. It's genuinely something that I think they push so deeply on moms, almost to the detriment of mothers. At one point, I felt like my whole mood just revolved around whether if I pumped enough for Amelia or not. If I did, I was like on top of the world, and if I didn't, I felt like I was a terrible mother and I was doing everything wrong. It genuinely added way more stress at a time where I was just trying my best to survive. What matters the most is that your baby is fed and that you're okay. That's it. That's the whole thing. I've seen babies that are completely formula fed since the second they are born, and babies that have been breastfed till they were like 2 years, and they both turned out the exact same. So it is not the deal that the internet makes it out to be. Do not put that on yourself. Just do whatever you can do best. There are moms that overproduce milk and actually like have to give some away because that's how much milk is coming out. And then there are moms that, like me, I struggled so bad. I was happy when I got 8 ounces out, but sometimes I would get 4, sometimes I would get 3, and I'd be pumping for 30 minutes. That may not sound like a lot, but when you're not getting enough sleep, 30 minutes, and by the way, it's 30 minutes every 3 hours, and you're having to wash the pump parts too, it is a lot to put on your mental health. I also suffered from DMER, which stands for dysphoric milk ejection reflex. Really long term to basically explain that every time you have a letdown, you feel like the world is going to crash and burn. It was the weirdest thing, and I didn't know what it was for a while, but I noticed that every time I would go to pump, I would just feel like all these negative emotions, anxiety, depression, irritability, hopelessness. It was every negative emotion you could feel all at once, just rushing through your body. It would only last for about the first 10 minutes, but it was just horrible. It was a horrible sensation that I had to go through several times a day, every single time I pumped. No one told me about that. I didn't know that existed. The only reason I found that out is because I was genuinely like, this is bizarre. Like, this happens every single time. So I Googled it, and when I Googled it, it actually came up with, yes, this is a known thing. Some women suffer from this. And I'm like, why does no one talk about this? I genuinely, for a little bit, thought, this must just be what it feels like to produce milk and pump milk. Like, I don't know, like, this must just be normal. When I looked it up, it was like, no, this is not normal, but some women do suffer from it. And I'm like, of course, my luck. Great. It was literally like a feeling of impending doom every single time. I know that sounds a bit dramatic, but I'm being serious. If you have suffered from this, or maybe if you go through this, you will realize I am not kidding. It is the most bizarre thing. And it's not postpartum depression, because the second those like 10 minutes are over, you're good to go. Like, life is great. But every time you have a letdown, for those first 10 minutes, it's a nightmare. Every single time. And honestly, that made pumping so much worse, because it was like I knew every single time I was gonna pump, I was gonna feel those feelings rush all over again. On top of that, Amelia was a big girl and she required a lot of milk. I swear she was on 8 ounces before she was like 2 months old. I was not producing that amount of milk, at least that often. It was really, really hard to keep up with her feeds. We ended up combination feeding for a while, and then eventually I was like, I'm over this. I've done this enough. I don't think this is working out for me. We eventually formula fed, and Amelia's done great. She's done absolutely great. Everything has been perfectly fine. If you wonder what milk I recommend Kendamil. It's actually a UK brand, but they sell it in the US, and they carry all the EU standards of formula milk. It's whole milk formula from cows, completely organic. It was honestly amazing. So don't take it too hard on yourself. Fed is best. I heard that saying, but I didn't accept it. So genuinely just try your best to accept it, because it's the truth. The internet makes you feel like you are a failure when you are not. You are doing your best, which is all the baby needs, regardless of if it's breast milk or formula milk. They will be fine. Sleep deprivation hits different than anything you've ever experienced. Nobody warned me. Like, they did, but I don't think I understood the full extent of it. People say sleep while you can, and you laugh. You're like, I know what tired is. You don't. You don't know what tired is. You truly don't until you've had a newborn. I'm telling you right now, that was probably the number one most shocking thing to me. I grew a certain level of respect for all moms out there. I know it sounds a bit ridiculous because obviously respect moms, but I mean like it was like a whole different level of respect. It made me realize every single mother that has had a newborn before has gone through this and survived. And to me, it felt like the most crazy thing ever. I don't know how anyone would ever not talk about it. It's insane, the level of sleep deprivation you get with a newborn. It is not just you're tired. It is you are literally living in a different universe for that first like 2 months. I'm not saying this to scare you. I'm saying it so that when it happens, you don't think it's your fault. You don't think you're doing something wrong. That is just genuinely what the newborn stage is like. Even after they're a newborn, it's still hard to get enough sleep, and most of the time you're still sleep deprived. But newborn sleep deprived is a whole different term that should be put in the dictionary. People need to understand that it is not just sleep deprivation. It is like your body is in survival mode for like at least a solid month. You don't know what day it is. You don't know what time it is. You don't know what anything is at that point. You're just trying to keep yourself alive and your baby alive. That is the only two concerns you have. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just running on no sleep while trying to keep a little tiny human being alive. Take it easy on yourself. You will eventually get out of that stage and you will start getting a little bit more sleep, little by little, until eventually you're having a full night's sleep, hopefully. If not, I recommend sleep training. Be easier on yourself. Lower your expectations. The house can wait. The laundry can wait. Rest when you can. I knew from my own research that newborns on average would wake up every 3 hours. So I assumed that meant I would get 3 hours of sleep. That's not how it works. 3 hours is including their awake time. They wake up for about an hour and then go to sleep. Amelia sometimes would go to sleep and wake up 30 to 45 minutes after we had put her down. Maybe 2 hours if I was lucky. And I would usually pump while Amelia was sleeping, and then obviously wash the pump parts afterwards. So sometimes I would be lucky if I got an hour of sleep. Honestly, sometimes it felt like the second I got in bed, she was waking up. My best tip is to plan for this. Talk to your partner, and if they have paternal leave, ask if they can take shifts with you, so both of you can at least get 6 to 8 hours of sleep. If you are breastfeeding or pumping, you'll have to wake up every 3 hours to make sure you still pump, but trust me, that's still way easier than having to wake up with the baby and still feed. Make a system beforehand so you're not caught off guard, because sleep deprivation will rock your world, and not in the fun way. This might be controversial, but tracking naps and wake windows is way more important than you think it is. I was clueless when she was born, and honestly, thanks to the Huckleberry app, I learned it all. The experience before and after was night and day. Sometimes babies don't look tired even though they are. And babies are also loud, jittery sleepers. I didn't know that either. I thought I could just lay her down and she'd sleep. That rarely happened, and if it did, it lasted for like 30 minutes. They need swaddles, sound machines, dark rooms, and yes, they can sleep without all of those things, but the quality and length of their sleep will be much less. Their sleep cycle wakes them up naturally at 30-ish minutes, but if they're in a dark room, they're more likely to go back to sleep instead of thinking it's time to wake up again. And the sleep swaddles help them out so much because when they're little, they have jerky movements when they sleep, and those jerky movements wake them up. So putting them in a swaddle minimizes those movements and keeps them comfortable. I also used to pick Amelia up the second she made a noise because I assumed, oh, she's up, let me try to console her. That's actually not always true. Babies make noises when they sleep. They're still trying to sleep. So sometimes if you just let them make the noise they're making and just leave them in there for a little bit, they will stay asleep. Versus now you just woke them up because now you went to go lift up the baby. Now the baby's like, oh, okay, mom's here. I'm ready. Let's feed. Let's wake up. Lastly, but most importantly, put them to sleep drowsy but awake. This is key. Trust me when I tell you this. If they get used to falling asleep while you're holding them, when you put them in their crib and they wake up and you're not there, they're gonna freak out and wake up instantly. In fact, Amelia would wake up the second I would put her in the crib because she would be like, what? I don't feel my mom around me. And when I fell asleep, my mom was holding me. My mom's not holding me anymore, so I'm gonna cry. Babies get used to sleeping with you. So they're gonna wake up the second they realize you're not there. Even if they're still sleepy, putting them to sleep drowsy but awake kind of trains them so that they realize when they sleep, they're gonna be alone. They might cry for a little bit, but they will eventually get used to it. But remember, I'm not forcing this on you. Do what you think is best for your family. Do what you can handle. If you want to not sleep train, go ahead. I personally will continue to sleep train all my babies. I'm so happy we did it with Amelia. She's a great sleeper now. And with our new baby, we're gonna do the same. And I'll actually vlog the experience of sleep training our new baby. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe and turn on those notifications so that you know when it comes out. Also, before you become a mom, you might not know this yet, but babies cry. It's not because you're a bad mom. It's not because you're doing anything wrong. Sometimes babies just cry. As long as you make sure they've been fed, you make sure their diaper isn't too full, they haven't pooped, you're not doing anything wrong. Your baby's just crying. Like sometimes they just do that. Don't overstress yourself out and think that it's you that's the problem. The internet will show you babies that don't cry. They will show you really chill babies that are just having a good time all the time. That is not always the case, okay? Babies cry. And also, it is okay to put your baby down in a safe place, of course. The internet over-sensationalizes doing stuff with one hand while you're holding your baby in the other. There is no reason you have to do that 24/7. There is no reason. Doing things with one hand as you're holding your baby in the other is never as efficient as it looks like online. Ever. You end up making more spills and making your life harder instead of simpler. Don't put that pressure on yourself. All you're doing is creating a really clingy baby that can't be put down. I'm not saying don't lift your baby ever. It's okay to do it, like, you know, I'm not opposed to holding your baby. I'm just saying you don't have to hold your baby 24/7 because you're afraid of them crying. Sometimes they cry. They gotta learn that you cannot hold them while you do every single thing, okay? That is just not real life. It's okay. Trust me, they will be fine. Trust yourself more than you think you should. You're gonna get so much advice from everyone. Your mom, your mother-in-law, your friends, strangers on the internet, your pediatrician, a random lady at Target. Heck, even me. And some of it will be helpful, but some of it will be completely wrong for your baby and your family. Nobody knows your baby like you do. Nobody. Trust that. You know more than you think you know. And every time you figure something out about your specific baby, that's not luck. That's you being a good mom. Do what works for you and your baby. This season goes by so quick. There are so many things that will stress you out that won't even matter a year from now. Some moms choose to sleep train, some don't. But yet we all make it out on the other end. Do what you feel is best for your family. So don't worry, you've got this. Don't stress on the stuff that won't matter a year from now. Your mom doesn't remember how little sleep she got with you, but she remembers your first steps, your first words, your first giggle. She remembers all those lovely moments with you. And you will be the same. Going into baby number 2, I feel like I am a completely different person than I was the first time around. Not because it's going to be easier. Honestly, having a toddler and a newborn at the same time is probably going to be its own kind of chaos. But I already know that I can do it. I know that the hard moments will pass. I know that even on the worst days, it's going to be the best thing I've ever done. If you're pregnant with your first, or maybe even your second, I hope something in this video made you feel a little less alone. That's honestly the whole reason I do this. If you're a mom and there's something you wish you had known before your first baby, drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to read every single one. And if this video helped you at all, a like really does help more moms find this, and I would genuinely appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. I post real honest mom content every week, and I would love to have you here. See ya in the next one. God bless. Bye.
Show me love, show me love.